Well, a question. Where is the I you call you? When I say I, how will you localize that? Now where am I? Am I here behind the eyes? Am I a weight in the chest? Am I a pulse in the wrist? No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body, and no mirror has ever shown a self behind its own silver. You can't leave what you were never in. The body is not your address. The body is not your identity. The body is an instrument, and appearing as a glove appears on a hand, but the living hand of being is spirit. In him we live and move and have our being. If we begin there, fear loses air, and the urge to fix appearances relaxes into the one fact, I and the Father are one. So then let us say it plainly. Healing is not a humanly managed event. Healing is the realized activity of divine presence. It is not something we make, it is something that already is. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and perform. Be still and know. We do not treat the body, prod the problem, push the symptom. We return attention to presence. When thought releases the body from its grasp, when we stop counting the waves, the sea reveals itself as one undivided depth. In that realization, harmony appears of itself and in its own season. I am not a healer. I am not a fixer. I am not an arranger of atoms and organs. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. I do not pep talk spirit nor apply pressure upon it. I do not manipulate thought to change matter. I rest in the fact that spirit alone is cause and presence alone is power. Safety lies in surrendering all interference. There is no hype here, no showmanship, no secret method to tempt the ego. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not the God of flesh, not the God of fear, not the God of outcomes. One presence, one power. You see, you cannot coerce a principle. In mathematics, 2 times 2 is 4, not because we strain, but because we consent to what is. So with the law of spirit, harmony is not persuaded, it is recognized. As recognition dawns, we discover that my conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. From that oneness flows sufficiency, not as a performance, not as a test to be passed, but as life being itself through the instrument of our yielded awareness. Let us open the door this way. Father within, live thy life, think thy thoughts, be thyself as this consciousness. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I need not move a mountain, I need only cease pretending to be its mover. Be still and know. And as we know, the one who does the works is already here. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. Not absent from life, not absent from love, absent from the hypnosis that says the eye is lodged behind the eyes, or beating in the chest, or trapped in the bones. When I say I, where will you put that I? Here, there, in the head, in the hand? No, no. I am not in the physical. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. They have never lifted a rib and discovered an identity. They have found organs and tissues and blood, but never the one who says I. In him we live and move and have our being. Then where am I? I am where God is. I and my Father are one. To be present with the Lord is not to go anywhere. It is to release the attempt to locate the self inside an address of flesh. You can't leave what you were never in. The body is not a prison to escape. It is an instrument to be used by presence. Spirit is not a lodger, spirit is the home. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and so is everyone born of spirit. Point to yourself and you will point everywhere and nowhere at once, because your identity is non-local, universal, indivisible. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. not some of it, all of it. In that oneness, your neighbor is not outside you, nor your good afar off. Lo, I am with you always, not as a visitor crossing space, but as the very life of your life. This truth is the great relief. Rest comes here. You are not required to make healing happen. You are not the contractor hired to fix God's house. It is no longer I that live, but Christ liveth in me. The Father within doeth the works. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall put on. Take no thought for how a symptom will be rearranged. Take thought only to be absent from the body in belief and present with the Lord in realization. Then the pressure dissolves, performance, bravado, fear dissolves in the light of what already is. My function is receptivity, not production. My prayer is recognition, not persuasion. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Do you see how safe this is? If I am not in matter, matter cannot outline my destiny. If I am not a bundle of nerves, nerves cannot narrate my day. If I am not a pulsation of fear, fear has no tongue with which to speak in me. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace, joy, fulfillment. And because oneness is universal, your sufficiency does not take mine, nor does my peace diminish yours. One presence, one power, appearing as infinite grace without competition. So we rest. Father, be thou what thou art as this awareness. Live thou thy life. Think thy thoughts. I withdraw my hand from the wheel. I stop appointing myself Lord of outcomes. Be still and know. Know what? That I am, and that I am not in the physical, absent from the body, present with the Lord. This is identity. And in that identity, harmony appears of itself and in its own season. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is. So now let us face the next fact. There are not many powers contending over a battlefield called you. There is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, one presence, one power. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not the God of fear, not the God of personal will, not the God of methods dressed as holiness, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. When we admit one, the many fade like stars at sunrise. Where would a second power stand if omnipresence is presence? Where would a rival act if omnipotence is power? No, no. The dream of two-ness dissolves in the light of one. From this recognition comes a way of working that is not working at all. I do not heal, I do not fix. I do not push prayer up a hill like a boulder. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. Therefore, I avoid interference. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts, no suggestion, no manipulation, no hand laid upon a condition as if spirit needed leverage. I never give human advice. I withhold my opinion, my plan, my timetable, because the breath of the Almighty needs no coaching. Be still and know that I am God. Consider how a principle operates. You do not pull the sun to raise the morning, you open the blinds. You do not coax 2 times 2 to become 4. You yield to what is. It is the same with the law of spirit. We are not hiring God to perform. We are consenting to God as all. The moment I try to direct the outcome, I have multiplied gods and reintroduced fear. The moment I rest in one, the works are His, the fruits are His, and the safety is His. Take no thought is not indifference. It is reverence for the one who knows. This is why the sincere and the skeptical alike are safe here. There is no theater in this room. No performance, no promise of spectacle, no pressure to believe in techniques or personalities. By their fruits ye shall know them, and fruits do not shout. They appear in season, peace appears, sufficiency appears. The fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, gentleness, appears not as an achievement pinned to a lapel, but as the quiet ripening of presence. These signs shall follow them that believe, not precede with fanfare. We do not tempt the Lord with demonstrations. We trust the Lord with being Lord. So our prayer is simple, and it is enough. Father within, be thou the only presence acting, the only power appearing. Live thou thy life as this awareness. Think thy thoughts, move thy love. I withdraw interference. I resign control. I cease advising God. One presence, one power. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. The Father within doeth the works, and so it is. Now let us make this living and simple. When ye pray, enter into thy closet and shut the door, not a wooden door, shut the door of the senses. Choose a chair that is comfortable, low enough that the feet rest easily upon the floor, the back supported so that you are not managing muscles. Let the hands rest loosely in the lap, palms easy, fingers unposed. Never prop your elbows. Do not set a guard at your shoulders. Allow the head to balance without tilt or strain. Close the eyes. There is no occult reason for any of this, only one of physical comfort, that the body may slip from attention and you become virtually unaware of having a body. We are not doing something to the body. We are removing the body from thought. Now be still, and know that I am God. Not be still and measure your breathing. Not be still and count seconds. Be still and know. Turn within without reaching, without asking for a sign or a sensation. Put down every shopping list and every diagnosis. No pleading, no bargaining, no explaining to God the nature of a problem, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Desireless, restful, present. If a thought rises to repair something, let it pass like the shadow of a bird across a window. Do not follow. Do not fight. Simply return to the inner door where the Lord is already within. It helps to carry a password, yes. A word of passage that opens the gate of remembrance. Softly, without pressure, let it sound within. I and my Father are one. Not two seeking union, one recognizing itself. Or let it be this: thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not my effort, not my understanding, not my virtue, thy grace. These are not magic syllables. They are passwords because they pass you from self-will to self-awareness. Whisper them inwardly and then grow silent again. Wait. I wait in a state of receptivity. I wait without agenda. I wait until the click comes. What is this click? Not a noise, not a flash. It is the unannounced entry of peace, the instant when striving loosens its grip and knowing replaces hoping. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. It may be as subtle as a softening behind the heart, a wideness in awareness, a sense that the room has grown larger, though nothing moves. In that moment, I am consciously union with God. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea, and grace begins to flow as law fulfilled. If it seems to delay, do not tug on the flower to make it taller. Do not search for the click, that is, searching for a sensation. Remain gently in the closet of the heart. I and my Father are one. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Silence is not empty. It is pregnant with the one who doeth the works. Presently, without your arranging, sufficiency appears as thought, as rest, as direction, as the lifting of fear. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. This, then, is the practice. Remove the body from thought for a few minutes, open the blinds of awareness, and let the sun be the sun. No pressure, no performance, only consent. Father within, live thou thy life. And in that desireless stillness, the click of union announces what already is, and grace, unlabored, unfailing, flows. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Now here is the correction that keeps the door open. Stop treating symptoms in consciousness. Do not fix, do not visualize, do not plead over bodies. Why? Because to fix an effect is to enthrone an effect. To visualize an organ is to announce that an organ is a god in need of your artistry. To plead is to inform omniscience and thereby confess two powers, the problem and a God you hope to persuade. No, no. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Whenever we seize upon an appearance to manage it, we bind attention to the plane of appearances. We have left the closet and stepped back onto the street to argue with traffic. Principle does not argue. Principle is 2 times 2 is 4, not by pressure, but by being what it is. You do not beg mathematics to be true, you align with it, and the sum appears. It is the same with spiritual law. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The adding is not our operation. The seeking better, the recognizing is. Think of traffic. Safety is not produced by honking, pleading, or forcing our way through an intersection. Safety appears by yielding to the lights, to the right-of-way. When we align with law, flow returns. When we force outcomes, collisions multiply. So in this way of spirit, harmony appears by yielding to principle, not by manipulating effect. I do not tell you what to do with a doctor or a diet. I never give human advice. My concern is this one alignment. Return attention to presence. When fear rises, and it will present itself as sensation or story, do not chase it, do not fight it, do not paint over it with rosy affirmations. Withdraw attention. Slip back into the inner closet. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Let the password sound once, softly. I and my Father are one. Or simply rest in this. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not as magic, not as leverage, but as remembrance. Then be still. Look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. When the mind tries again to check a symptom, remember Martha's hurry and Mary's listening. One thing is needful. Choose the one thing. Return again and again without scolding yourself, without performance pressure. Each return is obedience to cosmic law. Each yielding is an opening of the blinds. Presently the click comes, or perhaps only a deep, unarguable ease. That is the sign. By their fruits ye shall know them. Peace without hurry, sufficiency without strain. We did not change an effect. We consented to cause. Father within, live thou thy life. Think thy thoughts. Be thyself as this awareness. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is. Now let us speak of safety, not the safety of locks and bars, but the safety of law. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And again, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and thy neighbor as thyself. These are not preferences of a prophet's mood. They are the impersonal architecture of being, the cosmic traffic signals by which harmony flows. One God. Therefore, no rival powers, no private gods, no outcomes enthroned as idols. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Therefore, no corner where love does not apply, no exception clause for our grievances. You do not vote these laws true. They are true. As in mathematics, 2 times 2 is 4, whether we like it or not. Alignment reveals what already is. Disalignment hides it. Do not tamper with a law as if it were clay. A cosmic law is a double-edged sword. Turn it for private cutting, and it cuts the user. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Law is impersonal. It will not favor my desire against your good, nor will it be hired for advantage. Use this way to get to best another, to parade a demonstration, and you have introduced other gods and invited their penalty. Fear, pressure, hurry. No, no. We do not bend law. We bow to it. You violate 2 times 2 is 4, and you have brought the wrath of the principle of mathematics upon a bridge. You violate love, and the structure of consciousness creaks with the same inevitability. God is no respecter of persons. Grace is not a private pipeline. It is the ocean that lifts all when we withdraw the dams of self-will. What then is the healing atmosphere? Harmlessness. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Non-judgment. Judge not, that ye be not judged. Forgiveness 70 times 7. Not as sentiment, but as obedience to law. Resentment is a sandstorm. It makes the eye of consciousness blink and waters blur. Judgment is noise. It scrambles the receiver. Unforgiveness is a clenched fist. Grace cannot place its gift there. If thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, first be reconciled. Reconciliation is a clearing of the frequency. Suddenly the click comes, not as reward for virtue, but as the natural recognition once static ceases. A nurse wrote, "From a city by the sea I could smell salt on the paper, though it had crossed an ocean." She said the ward had been restless for days, a child's fever climbing while arguments simmered between a surgeon and an intern. Standing at the foot of the bed, she confessed, "I wanted a result. I blamed the men." Then she remembered not to fix, not to win, but to love. She closed her eyes there for a moment and forgave 70 times 7, not counting, simply yielding. She ceased opinion, ceased taking sides, and let the password sound, "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things." In that quiet, the room grew wider. Her words, not mine. Peace came. Not a performance, an atmosphere. An hour later, the child slept deeply, the fever easing. She did not heal. Love removed the interference, and grace did the works. So we take our hands off effects and place our hearts under law. One God. Love thy neighbor as thyself. No exceptions. No private uses. As much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. In my oneness with God, I find the power to bless rather than to manage, to forgive rather than to perform, to be harmless in thought and deed. This alignment is the condition of grace's appearing and the only safety of this work. Father within, be thou the law of love in me. Live thou thy life as gentleness, as fairness, as non-judgment. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and so it is. To the skeptical and the weary, you are safe here. There is no drumbeat, no spotlight, no demand that you adopt a vocabulary or salute a method. This way does not ask you to believe in me, or in a technique, or in a schedule. It asks for honesty and receptivity. Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Doubt can sit quietly in the back of the room while honesty opens the window. Weariness may rest its elbows on the sill. There is room. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Rest, not performance. Let us be very clear about what this is and what it is not. It is not psychism. It is not suggestion. It is not the force of will dressed in religious words. We do not project ourselves across miles. We do not control another mind. We do not try to make a body behave by thinking at it. No, no, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts. I never give human advice. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. The Father within doeth the works. Where there is one presence and one power, there is nothing for us to manipulate and no one for us to manage. How then does help appear? Quietly, often without spectacle, often later reported, unplanned, unforced. A woman wrote from a mountain village, at 3 a.m, something let go. I had been bargaining with God, then grew too tired to bargain. I said only, Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and slept. I awoke as if the room had been aired out. She did not see lights. She did not feel hands. Peace came, and the fear that had been tightening every thought simply had no purchase. Another wrote, I remembered to be still instead of pleading. I forgot about the clock. By afternoon, I realized I had not checked the symptom for hours, and the compulsion to check was gone. These are not performances. They are fruits. By their fruits ye shall know them. Peace is a fruit, release is a fruit. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. There are no promises and no timelines in this room. Do not demand them of God. They are the coin of commerce, not of grace. The earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. In due season, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Our part is fidelity to presence. Enter the inner closet, shut the door of the senses, withdraw interference, and wait in receptivity until the click comes. Not a sensation to chase, but the unarguable hush of peace. Then we go about our day without monitoring outcomes, trusting the wise season of the one who knows. If you are skeptical, be sincerely skeptical, but stay. If you are weary, be openly weary, but rest. This path is not a performance. It is a consent. Seek no personality, no method to belong to. Seek God, and you shall find good. I and my Father are one. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And as we abide there, without pressure and without hurry, the works are His, the fruits are His, and the safety is His. Be still and know that I am God. And so it is. How then shall we know that the inner door has swung on its silent hinge? Not by fireworks, not by a rush that demands errands for God. No, no. The authentic activity of spirit announces itself as stillness, as sufficiency, as fear's hand slipping from the throat of thought. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. There is a soft weight to it, like a quiet rain that settles dust. The mind is not excited, it is hushed. The heart is not thumping for a project, it is rested in completion. Often there is the simple recognition there is nothing to add, nothing to hurry, nothing to protect. Perfect love casteth out fear, and with fear goes the compulsion to measure, to test, to check. The symptom monitor inside retires without notice. Peace, not euphoria. Sufficiency, not ambition. Then what? After the click, do nothing. Rest. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Do not run to arrange outcomes. Do not broadcast decrees to speed a result. Do not place your hand upon the ark. The Father within doeth the works. If guidance is needed, it will come without push, complete, unhurried, unmistakably harmless. My sheep hear my voice, and that voice never hustles, never threatens, never bargains. It may move you to make a call, to take a step, to speak a word, but it will not carry the heat of fear or the rhetoric of urgency. It will be as natural as breathing and as unambitious as light entering a room when the blinds are open. Let God fulfill himself as guidance, as correction, as harmony. You and I are not foremen on a job. We are the window through which grace appears. And if there is no click, be faithful to silence. Better to do nothing than to use truth humanly to get results. Do not turn the name of God into a lever. Do not employ Scripture as a pry bar. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Wait without manufacture. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Resist the itch to help by force, mental or verbal. I never give human advice. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts. Why? Because to interfere is to confess two powers and to invite the penalties of pressure and hurry. Silence is trust. Silence is obedience. Silence is room made for God to be God. Discernment is simple when you remember the fruits. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. When the inner tide is real, kindness rises to those we resented. Generosity loosens our grip. A fairness appears that needs no witness, not display, not testimony hung like a medal. Often the instruction is exactly what the Master once gave. See thou tell no man until the season of telling serves love rather than ego. Pressure is never a sign. Hurry is never a sign. Peace is the sign. Sufficiency is the sign. A holy unneed is the sign. So we keep the watch. If the click comes, we rest and let the Father within do the works. If it tarries, we rest still, saying softly, I and my Father are one. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Be still and know one presence, one power. And so it is. Healing is not a trophy on the mantle of time. Healing is relationship, your realized oneness with the one who is life itself. I am the vine, ye are the branches. The branch does not perform the grape, it abides, and fruit appears of itself. The earth bringeth forth fruit of herself. First the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Not by pressure, not by hurry, by abiding. The moment we make a result our God, we have stepped out of relationship and into commerce. No, we are not bargaining with omnipresence. We are consenting to be what we are in God. Let the litany be simple and exact, for it is the map and the meal. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. In my oneness with God, I find joy. In my oneness with God, I find fulfillment, not later, not when an effect changes. Now, because presence is the ground of every outcome, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The adding is not my function. I cease clock watching. I lay down the calendar of demands. Take no thought for the morrow. Presence is fulfillment, and from fulfillment, forms take their season. You ask, what of my neighbor? If oneness is true, then love is inevitable. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. When I live in sufficiency, I do not reach to take yours. When you live in sufficiency, you do not brace to defend mine. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, war ceases first within, then between us. A man wrote that an old debt had knotted two households for years. He wanted payment, the other wanted vindication. In prayer, he let the password sound, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and waited. The click came as a quiet fairness. He no longer wanted victory, only rightness, without winners or losers. Within a week, an arrangement appeared that satisfied both without triumph. No one healed that situation. Relationship revealed itself and the knot untied. So daily we live from root to fruit. We tend the root abiding rather than polishing leaves for show. We stop checking the field every hour. We stop telling God the temperature needed for growth. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing is relationship. From that knowing, the fruits appear as needed in their season. A word to speak, a rest to take, a bill provided, a reconciliation begun. We do not assign their shape. We do not schedule their arrival. We abide, and the vine lives the branch. Father within, be thou thyself as this abiding. Live thou thy life as completeness, as security, as peace, as joy, as fulfillment. Let love be harmless because it wants nothing and withholds nothing. I and my Father are one. I am not in the physical. I am in thee and thou in me. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is. Now let us make this a way to live, not a moment to remember. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Morning, before the feet touch the floor, before the world has a name, enter the inner closet. 30 seconds are enough if they are honest. Remove the body from thought. Let the password sound once, soft as dew. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, not my planning, not my managing, not my fear, thy grace. Then be still. I and my Father are one. Let that be the first atmosphere of the day, the first light through the blinds. At noon, when the commerce of hours hums and the mind reaches for levers, step aside. Find a chair, a corner, even the pause between breaths. Pray without ceasing does not mean many words, it means many yielding. 10 seconds can be a Sabbath if they are surrendered. Shut the door of the senses. Refuse to treat a symptom in thought. Say only, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and let silence finish the sentence. Let the Father within do the works. Return then to your task unhurried, unpressured, harmless. Night before closing the eyes, close the accounts. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Forgive 70 times 7 your neighbor, yes, and yourself no less. Release the day from your verdicts. Withdraw interference from every story you have been trying to edit. Whisper it once more as you slide into the great rest. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Sleep in that Sabbath. He giveth his beloved sleep. Now the guardrails that keep our way safe. Never attempt to use spirit. No. Spirit uses you as transparency. You do not use spirit as instrument. I never give human advice. Let love govern speech so that let your yea be yea is more than a proverb. Let it be your atmosphere. Let love govern commerce, for a false balance is abomination to the Lord. Be fair without performance, generous without witness. Let love govern care. Refuse gossip. Refuse superiority. Refuse the small thefts of attention that make idols of results. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. You cannot bend a cosmic law to private angles without cutting your own hand. Bow when you are kept, and know this, our abiding is not private. Conscious oneness becomes a blessing wider than words. In him we live and move and have our being. As the click comes to one, an unhurried peace spreads like quiet light in a room. The family feels it. The street feels it. A stranger 2 towns away sleeps more deeply. God alone is the doer. Our part is consent. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, love travels without travel, and help appears without heroic. So I send you not with tasks, but with presence. Morning, noon, and night. Enter, yield, be still. Let the Father within live your life. Think no thoughts, he does not think. Speak no words love cannot own. Do no deed that requires two powers. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and give thee peace. I and my Father are one, one presence, one power. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is.